in terms of journalists, were you ever watching people that you were like, oh, I really like the way that they, you know,
I was brought up on Merv Griffin.
Oh, okay.
Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas. Of course, Johnny Carson. But Merv Griffin had all the Broadway people on when he was in New York.
Yes.
And Merv would always have a conversation. How's the kids? How's the family? Oh my God. And he'd look at the audience.
Right.
Like when I do live interviews with people, I like to embrace the audience of just saying, you know, how many of you saw them in this movie? And they'll clap.
Yeah.
I like to, you know, and Merv always did that, but Merv made it a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, so he was always my go-to.
Right. And that, I you know, I've always been drawn to that idea. Is like, and that was a big intent with doing this too. Is like we're trying to formulate a conversation, not an interview. You know what I mean? So that because the interview can feel like in a box in a way.
Well, I always say know where you want to go.
Right.
But you may have A, B, C, D, and E, but you might have asked me A and I already answered C, then go back to B.
Right.
But through a conversation.
But this way, it's not, you know, and in acting, it's the same thing of like, oh, you know, you rehearse a piece and then you bring it into the room. They're like, can you try it like this? And you're like, but I just, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of be malleable to be able to, you know, be flexible in the sense that like, okay, well, you know what? You just answered my 8th question. So now I need okay, I'm not going to ask that now because we already talked about, you know, things like that.
I always say just sort of in your mind know what you want to accomplish, but then just let it all go.
Yeah.
Because we're listening to each other.
Right.
And taking off of that, say, oh, well, tell me about this one. Tell me about Fred. Tell me about whatever.